Hi, everybody. How are you today? From the north, south, east, west, wherever you are, welcome. Today we have a special program where we have a town hall, financial town hall, and the topic is one that is very exciting. So please stay tuned. We have to facilitate the conversation a certified professional accountant, Mr. Nicholas Masvikeni. I like to call him Zim Power.
Wow.
From my favorite country of Zimbabwe, the land of the Victoria Falls.
Yes,
So he's
that's
going to
true.
be facilitating the conversation today. I do have a supporting somebody who's going to contribute to the conversation, Mr. Israel Ademola. So today we're going to talk about something called Sou-Sou. Sou-Sou. So I'm going to have Uncle Nick, as I like to call him, tell us what this Sou-Sou thing is and why are we even talking about it. So Uncle Nick, over to you. First of all, talk a bit about yourself, please. Share your
Okay.
contact, just so people can reach you whenever they need to. And then let's talk about Sou-Sou.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for introducing me, Dr. Rose. I'm very pleased to be with you today. And just to share a little bit of information that I know about SuSu. But before we get into that, I would want to introduce myself as well, just to tell you a little bit about myself. That I'm originally from Zimbabwe, but I'm now settled here in Canada. And it has been an amazing journey for me and my family. It has been also amazing just learning a lot more about finance. I thought I was a guru in finance, but I realized that there was a lot for me to learn, and I'm happy that I'm learning that in addition to what I already know, right?
Mm.
So, yeah, and we have been helping families and the community in different ways, and it has been an amazing journey. But otherwise, before I delve into the discussion, my contact details that people can reach me on certainly 780-920-1501. That's
780-920.
1501.
Okay, I've typed it in the chat.
All right. Oh, wonderful.
Okay.
But otherwise, they can also reach me on my email, which is nmashikeni
Mhm.
at gmail.com.
Okay, I've typed that as well.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay. So, going back to the subject of matter, which is what is SuSu. SuSu, it has been around the African and the Caribbean communities for a very long time, and it is a cooperative investment group that the Africans and the Caribbeans have found is a useful tool for them to to serve and be
Mhm.
able to do something big. And if they have got a big project that they want to do, they will actually serve as a rotating savings club
Mhm.
where a treasurer is elected and there is a schedule of when payments are actually made in, be it on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and then they also then rotate.
Mhm.
They actually then rotate in terms of who gets the amount, who gets
Mhm.
the total amount. That is, I'll give an example a little bit later. Uh, but
Mhm.
but in other circles, you hear it is called rounds, right?
Rounds.
Rounds. Yes,
Rounds. Okay.
rounds. It means people
Round.
rotate
Okay.
in. Yeah, yeah. Every member contributes, but only
Uh-huh.
one person receives in that particular period that they've set for themselves, and then the next person receives on the next round. Okay,
Okay.
and the next round of contributions.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm
good.
making notes actually.
You're
I'm
making notes.
making notes. Yes.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Okay, so during that period. it's actually a prescribed period where these payments are actually scheduled payments are actually made by the members. Let's just assume that there are 10 members. So the 10 members will contribute each, say, $1,000, right? And what that means, that is $1,000 a month. So at the end of that month, the treasurer receives all the money, then he distributes, or she distributes it to one member. So that means they have received, the one member receives 10,000 in that particular month. That cycle happens again the following month, and the second member receives that, and it continues like that in that prescribed period. So when that period ends, what then happens is that they reset. Either new members come in, or they continue with the same members, or a different cycle is actually created, and then it continues just like that.
Okay.
All
So
right.
that is SuSu.
That is SuSu. That is SuSu. Yes.
So you talk about treasurer. Is the treasurer is elected in the group?
Yes, the treasurer is elected in the group. It's one of the members, particularly. It's one of the members. Yes, and
it's got to be a trusted member, because the treasurer can decide to run away with all the money.
Yeah,
I'm already seeing red flags there.
Yeah,
Uncle Israel, you want to say something? Because I'm already seeing the red flags.
Because I noticed that still speaking right now, but I'll have a couple of questions regarding the guidelines that they put in place before having members, and also what are the criteria they will need to, the screening process before they elect the right member.
Okay.
I know you're still speaking, but I don't want to break it.
No, it's I can actually talk a little bit about that, and maybe we can cover that a little bit later again if I don't cover it well enough at the beginning. So you talk about when we talk about the SuSu, it's really more of a community savings club of people that live within the same community, or the people that are known to each other generally. So you may find that there is that kind of trust that is there, but that does not eliminate the risk that we are talking about here. It doesn't eliminate that particular risk. It's just somebody that they know, but there is no particular criteria that they use to screen and make sure that they have the right treasurer who can handle these things. So that part, that's one of the downside of it. I would say this is one of the downside of the SuSu clubs, and it has happened before that the treasurer just disappears.
I would be surprised if it's happened before.
Yeah, it can happen.
Except I think if it happens, they can sue, right? Or they can call the cops or something.
Yeah, they can do that, but as I said, these are also people that are known to each other, right? So they wouldn't do it the first time. They wouldn't do. They try to recover it one or the other, but you can see problems coming in the strained relationships, because these are people that are known to each other, and that is that break of trust. That way, it can hit not just the loss of money, but it also breaks the relationships as well.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a double.
Okay, I'm going to shut up and let you keep talking. Go ahead.
But it's a nice discussion. I love the discussion and the questions that were also coming up as well. Okay. So the question is, when it comes to, as I have actually already given an example, I also mentioned to you that there are new members actually come in when it resets, right? New members come in and they become like 12 or 15 or whatever the number that can be. Yeah. So and that also, what happens is that the cycle is elongated, or is actually shortened by the number of people that are in the reset. And obviously, it takes time for someone. If you are the 12th person, it means you get something at the end. Whilst others are also would have gotten their monies at the beginning. So there is another type of risk there. There's another type of risk that, you know, that group may not survive the 12 months. So if it didn't survive the 12 months, are there mechanisms of dealing with somebody who has already received and the other ones haven't received? Those mechanisms, we find those are loose arrangements. So there might not be enough mechanisms that may ensure that everybody is protected one way or the other. Yeah, and people end up in jail, and people, because they would have reported each other to the police and, you know, and take each other to court on such matters. Yeah. Okay.
So let's assume a happy path. So right now, because, you know, because of the way I think, I always like to look at the negative, like the disadvantages, the downside, just so I can protect myself. But assume a happy path. If everything goes well, what is a happy path? Everybody gets money and then they do a reset.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody does everybody contributes, everybody gets their share in that round, right? Then they reset into the next round. So that is, I said, a perfect one. And normally, because of the success that would have happened in the first month, in the first round, sorry, you find that more members may want to join in. And obviously they may also then be subjected to the same rules and terms. But as I said, these are loose rules and terms. They are no, they are not as succinct in terms of managing the risk that is actually brought in by this community group, savings group. Yeah. Okay, then we can actually then go to take you to what are the advantages, obviously, of SuSu. I'm sure we were talking about some of them already, and what the advantages of SuSu. I would take it to be they are predictable, scheduled, you know, contributions, and also predictable receipt of money by the member who is actually receiving that particular cycle. Okay, and also, but of course, as I said, there are also quick money for those that are in the early months. Okay, and people scheduled for the later months must stay patient. Must stay patient, hoping that nothing happens until they get their part. Okay, but also because it's a commitment to the to the group, it actually forces everyone to serve through that particular method of contributing to this particular savings group. Everybody is contributing, right? So it forces people to serve, which is a good thing, because we find that yeah, in some societies or many individuals do not serve anything for themselves, but this actually helps that they actually save something, right, for their rainy day. And this money, then obviously other advantages that for those who don't have self-discipline to save by themselves, this group forces them to do so. Okay? And also those that are spendthrifts spend a lot of money, right? And once money is on their hand, they just want to throw it out, throw it around, right? But the SuSu certainly helps them to give them that particular discipline, because they know they have got a commitment to a group. They are not, it's not a commitment to themselves, but it's a commitment to the group. So they must honor that commitment. So, yeah. And also, one of the major advantages that it has been used for is that it increases the social interaction, social camaraderie, right? And social friendship of the group, of that community, of, you know, as I said, these are people that know that know each other. So in the end, it actually increases that, and also increases the trust, increases the friendship, increases everything. All right. So those are the advantages, I would say. They are in this particular group. There are disadvantages, of course. If there are advantages, there will always be disadvantages, right? So the question is, what if? As I was saying earlier on, is that there are loose arrangements, right? It's by trust. So what if somebody what if somebody then breaks that particular trust?
Yeah.
As we were talking about the treasurer, right? This is the treasurer who runs away with the money. We can also talk about, of course, some bodies may actually get into financial problems of their own making, and some not of their own making, right? And when it comes to the time to contribute, and they may fail to contribute. So what happens
in that situation? So you get to month 7. So everybody, month 1 to 6 was good. Month 7, somebody says, oh, I just lost a family member. I don't have money. I can't contribute my 1,000 for this month. Everybody else does except that one person.
Yeah.
So then what happens?
That's where everything starts, where that is the problems actually start. Because if they can't pay, right? Otherwise, they also have to go to borrow to cover for this particular gap, right? Once they also get to borrow from somewhere, it's another strain that even the next month, because they have to return this other money that they actually borrowed, they may also not be able to contribute the next month. They have to borrow again. Then it becomes a vicious cycle.
Brother Israel, do you have experience in this? I know you mentioned that you know about this, so tell us.
I have heard about it before, and thank you so much, sir, for the this information. It's been a while actually, but I kind of have an eye opener more than the way I used to know about it before, based on the questions you are asking right now, because maybe where we came from, the level of trust, there's a way we can build it whereby even if there will be faults, it's minimal compared to where we are right now. Then the volume of amount that possibly be involved, we are talking in terms of thousands. Some could do 2,000 or maybe more. And you can't control what could happen to people sometimes. Say the first person that is on the receiving end, get all this money, maybe embark on a project and something happen along the line. Others are at hope. My question is, we are in an advanced society. Is there a way to put some structures to safeguard those high level of risk?
Okay.
That's a big question.
Okay. It's a good
question. Sorry, before you answer, Uncle Nick, you also mentioned that it's a loose relationship. So that tells me that there's no lawyer. There's no lawyer that has, this is not a registered organization. It's just something based on trust and friendship. No lawyer, no accountant, no structure. So then anything can happen and people can just lose their money. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. I hope I will be able to, and I know I will be able to justify your question with a good response. Yeah. So what happens is that those are some of the risks that come with this particular structure, and in terms of if somebody cannot pay, they cannot pay. There is and that default risk. If you now look at it, the default risk is too high, to the extent that once it happens, it kind of tends to break the whole group setting, right? Unless somebody then is able to make up for whatever they can't do, then the group will just break up. Okay, once it breaks up, some have already received, some haven't received. So what happens? those are issues now that are actually dealt with in a loose arrangement again, and obviously it will not make everybody happy. Okay, so then to come back to Ango Israel's question, to say, are there structures or ways that we can mitigate this particular risk that we are talking about? Maybe before I even get to answer that question, I want to introduce, you know, what also happens is that some of the SuSu groups is that they may also introduce a way of earning, increasing the money that is within the group, right? Where they actually, each one pays the 1,000, but what is 1,000, but what is distributed to that one member is, for example, 800 from each member, which is 8 times the 10 people, which will be 8,000, not 10,000. The other 2,000 remains in the pot and is available for members to borrow, right? Members can then borrow from that, or somebody can actually borrow even from outside that group, can actually borrow from it. So that,
so they're like a bank. They become like a bank.
Naturally, that's what it is. A SuSu also is really a mimic of a bank, but in within a community setup. So
interesting.
Yes.
Sorry, sir, to cut you. If somebody is borrowing from outside, is there any interest that that money will accrue, or is just for free?
No, it's not for free. Once it's borrowed, it's not for free.
Okay.
It's not for free. They don't talk about like interest. Then it's like if they borrow 1,000, yeah, you return it as 1,200. You know, of course, that's interest, right? Right. But that's how it operates. Somebody also borrows 1,000. They return it as 1,300. So it's a moving numbers, right? But the main point that I wanted to bring in there is that it also introduces a further risk. This default risk, where members, or the credit risk, where members or whoever borrowed is unable to pay back, then it affects the group as well. That's another way. First, a member is unable to contribute their share in that particular cycle, or there is somebody who borrowed who is then unable to repay when it is due. Then it creates another strain to the particular group. Okay, so in terms of structures, it's something that I want to take you to, and I'd say definitely, I'll definitely what governments, I will tell you, governments in those particular areas, there's something that they call financial inclusion. Financial inclusion is a method where everybody, especially the communities, are involved in the banking system, if you get what I mean. It's a formal way. It's a formal way where banks have tried to bring these communities into a particular setup that will enable them to serve and to continue to serve and in their particular communities in a formal way, in a particular structured way. But that is then in those communities. I have not seen that here in Canada. I have not seen it in Northern America, but it's definitely, financial inclusion is a big thing in the African continent at the moment. It's something that is actually something that the government's actually trying to help, or the financial systems are trying to help the individuals to serve, because normally the banks do not favor those underprivileged or those that do not have a lot of money, right? That banking systems are really for the people who have what they tend to favor those ones. So it's actually to include them into that particular share of the banking system. Okay. So I will touch. I'll touch back. I will tell you maybe what I'm recommending a little bit later. I'll tell you what I'm recommending. Let me just finish off with these disadvantages. That the SuSu is that, as I say, there is no interest or no deductions. There are SuSus that do not have any interest that is earned on those particular accounts. But there are also others, obviously. Those that do not have interest is because they are running away from this credit risk that I was talking about when somebody fails to pay, right?
Yeah.
So they try to avoid it by just not charging any interest. That also means somebody who put in, whatever they put in is exactly what they get, right?
Yeah.
So there is a disadvantage. There is a disadvantage there that you've put in your money for a year and you just get back as it is, right? Okay.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
That's a big one, definitely.
So if they do that year on year on year, they're leaving a lot of money on the table.
Wow, yes. Dr. Rose, if I don't know if you have all the time, I could actually just show you something, but otherwise,
go ahead, please. I'm all ears. This is very interesting.
I just want to show you what people lose, and that's the biggest disadvantage that is there on this particular setup. Okay.
Are you able to share your screen? Yes.
Yeah, let me try to share my screen here. Can you see my screen?
It's coming.
Okay.
Okay, it's slow. Okay, now it's here.
Now you can see it?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so just to amplify what I was actually talking about is that, for example, we talked about that they will be contributing 1,000, right? Okay, so I will just put in 1,000 here. Okay, and assuming that they actually can earn 5%, right? Because they can, right? Because it's there in the market, right? It's there in the market. They are actually earning 5%, right? And which is actually compounded on a semi-annual basis, okay? And this, and they are contributing for 30 years, because these SuSus can actually be sustained for a very long time.
Yes. Those
successful ones, they can actually be sustained for as long as even 30 years, right? So, but they are successful in the terms that they've lived that long, but they may not be successful in terms of the financial aspect of it. I just want you to see that. I just want you to see that. Let's calculate what this 1,000 would have earned if they had actually put it in a formal setup, as Ango Israel was asking about, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if we were to calculate that, wow. Okay, so do you see that 1,000 contributed monthly for 30 years at 5%, right, would have earned interest of $464,000 over the 4.
My goodness. So that's the opportunity cost they're losing by staying in the SuSu.
Yeah,
that's a big opportunity cost.
In the SuSu, if you were following what I was saying, in the SuSu, how much would they have earned?
Nothing. It's just their own money back.
Exactly. That's the point. So they would have lost 464,000.
But the question though, the SuSu, I think is a round thing. But with this, the money have to be in the account for 30 years.
That's true. That's true. This is the assumption. But I just wanted for us to see, right? What the extent to which it could have earned if that money was actually kept in there. Because in the similarly in the SuSu, as much as you contribute your 1,000, right, every month, then you receive the 10,000.
That's right.
Later on, right? Then you can then choose to invest that 10,000. If you get what I mean, you can then choose to invest the 10,000. You don't necessarily have to go and then buy a car or something like that. Some go and buy a car. Some can actually choose to invest it or to keep it under the pillow as well. It's really more like keeping it under the pillow.
Yeah.
But then after the next round, they receive another 10,000. They have 20,000 under the pillow because it's not a formal system.
That's great.
Yeah, and it's not a
Wow.
formal system that manages risk, and that also helps them to earn as much as they can out of the money that they would have worked hard on.
So Uncle Nick, let's do. I really like the question that Uncle Israel asked. He said, well, this is a case where the money stays there for 30 years, but can you go back and do that $1,000 monthly for 12 months? So let's say there's a group of 12 and they each collect $12,000. So if your saving period was just 1 year, 1 year.
Okay.
Then they will get a bit of interest. It's not just the 12,000, right?
Yeah.
So they're still getting a bit more.
Yeah.
If they invest the money themselves. So then it's really that psychological, I don't know, the psychology of haste, of quick money. That's a trap in SuSu, right? Because it's the psychology of quick money for those who are receiving money in the first 3 months, maybe. Because those who are receiving in the last end of the year, say month 9, 10, 11, 12, they might as well just put their money in the bank and get it with interest, is what I'm thinking.
Exactly.
Yes. That's the point.
Because they believe they don't need the money, that is why they're just saving it to the end, so that they receive it at the end, so without any interest.
Yeah.
That's true. They receive it at the end, no interest. That's the thing.
Yeah, because what I'm thinking is this is the 21st century and this is Canada, and I still see people do this thing, and I don't understand it. So I'm so excited that this conversation is happening, because I haven't really had the understanding of why people do it, right?
Can I come in, please?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
I think one of the reasons
why please be aware that this is going to be uploaded to YouTube. You're cool with that?
Yeah, I'm worried about it.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think the primary reasons why people set up SuSu, especially back in Africa, is that getting credit facilities in Africa is almost out of the roof.
Yes.
The people so people believe that if they put their resources together, one of them can come and borrow out of it, use it to do business, and bring it back to the purse or to the fund, and at the end of the year, what you contributed will be given back to you, and any interest that accrued within the period will be shared among everybody. I understand what the facilitator was saying when he mentioned that sometimes people contribute and when they give to them, they go away and not come back to make their full contribution. That was a problem with that type of financing back in Africa. So people now I think at the end of the day, people, the most thriving ones were when you contribute to the end. They no longer say, at the end of this month, you take. At the end of the next month, this one take. I think they stopped that because people will collect, they will stop contributing. So I think over time, people, they partially do away with that and embrace the aspect of everybody contributing till the end of the year. At the end of the year, and within that period, if you need money to come to do business, they can borrow you out of it with interest. And by the time you pay your interest and return the money at the end of the year, in fact, the set date to return the money you borrowed is going to be a specific day at the end of the year. By the time everybody now brings back their money and the interest that are accrued, then they will now give you according to what you have contributed. Then the interest that are accrued, they will gather it together, put it together, and share it among themselves. That was the kind of SuSu that was thriving as at the time I left Africa. But the other aspect of SuSu, where people now contribute, and at the end of every month, you give it to the next person. Let's say 12 people are in the group. In January, they contribute and give it to Mr. A. February, they contribute and give it to Mr. B. That one was almost no longer in existence because people were defaulting after they have collected their own trunk of the SuSu. So that was what I know about that kind of financing. Primarily, the purpose for setting it up was for people to pull resources together and create a pool that they can borrow from in the course of the year to do business. Because to obtain credit facilities in the bank was above their reach at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my contribution. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Yeah. That's yeah, I also wanted to acknowledge that, yeah, that's perfect. That's one of, I would say that's another version of the SuSu, the original SuSu.
Mm-hmm.
And that is an improved version of the original SuSu, where they are trying to manage these particular risks that we're talking about, right?
Yes.
So they try to do it that way, where all members would have contributed, right? If you didn't contribute, then that's it. But however, because they are still lending, people are borrowing and returning with interest, which then they distribute at the end, right? It still has got this credit risk aspect to it, where these borrowers may fail to pay back. But there are many versions of the SuSus out there. They are there. Yes, they are certainly there. And thank you so much, Uncle Bright. Yeah, that's for bringing up that for sure.
So what is the way out? Like, what is our way forward, really? Like, I can tell you as a realtor, okay, I have seen cases where somebody brought in SuSu for their down payment.
For mortgages?
Yes, and the bank went, hell no. So Uncle Israel, you're a realtor. So you have seen that, I am sure. So tell me about it. How does the banking system see SuSu as down payment for a mortgage?
So it's not the source of the income is not explainable. And as a result of that, the bank would not really accept it at all. So from my own perspective, point of view, say somebody is trying to have a down payment, it would rather be better to be disciplined and be putting that money in bank for a period of maybe 12 months. Even if you're going to borrow money and put it in there, even bring it out, put it back, borrow. The bank wants to see the way transaction is coming back and forth. For that, in that context, for to buy a property. But generally, SuSu is good. Our forefathers have, engaged that practice in the past, and it works really well. I know some people are still doing it in this age and time, but we just need to grow the version to the point that there will be processes in place to safeguard risk. The gaps that we have in the past, we need to bridge that gap now. If we are doing SuSu, is very good. And it's also good for some people that are not disciplined when it comes to money management. When they spend money, they spend it anyhow. But when they are committed to this program, they know this amount of money have to come out of my paycheck to the contribution, which is very good. But my take will be, let's involve lawyer or involve people that can, safeguard the risk for innocent souls. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to keep hearing this story. Even if you have 90% good people, that 10% bad people will corrupt the whole system, and people will lose interest in want to invest in this kind of a program. Then also, another question that I want to ask, I don't know how they do it here. Do they take the money to the bank, or do they keep it with the treasurer? who are the signatories to the account if they have if they use bank? These are some of the questions that I might want to know, and to help other peoples out there that might want to, venture in this kind of program.
Yeah. Sorry, before you answer that question, Uncle Nika, I just wanted us to finish on the mortgage thing, Uncle Israel. So here's what I got from a mortgage advisor. He said to me, if they have Sou-Sou, like you said, is okay, but the Sou-Sou money has to be sitting in the account for at least 3 months. Yes, okay, that's it. I saw you bring up your
yes, 3 months.
So 3 months. So it needs to be in the account for 90 days or more, so that then in the FinTrack anti-money laundering system, it passes as a down payment. But you can't come and present all of a sudden there's 1,000, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 coming in. They're gonna go, what's going on here? So is that 90-day rule that people, if you're using Sou-Sou as your down payment, make sure it's sitting in your account for 90 days before you present it for down payment.
And also to add more to that too, even if it's sitting there for 90 days, if the money comes in as a chunk, they will still ask questions, because they can track your account, they know what is coming in and what is coming out, and this huge amount of money coming in. So
yeah, I think that's very correct, that they need to see the source of the money, and they need to be happy with that source of the money. But seeing a balance in an account as well, what bankers do, these lenders, it's another proof that you have got, money that flows regularly into your account, that it shows that you have got some formal regular income that comes into your account. And obviously the Sou-Sou amount that came in all at once, obviously it fails that particular test. Right. So it's a disadvantage. Now you have to go out again and try to explain how, you now need to explain a little bit more how it works and all that stuff. And it's a question of how you present yourself and if they believe you. So that's another issue that comes. And obviously, I don't know if you can declare those ones on your taxes, because the mortgage lenders, they also want to see your tax return, right? And that amount may not appear on your tax. I don't know if it appears on tax returns. It's not. I doubt it.
It's not an official investment. So there's no T5 or T3 or T this or T that. Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's one major problem that will arise. Therefore, so the recommendations are that I'm actually making for as an alternative, a more succinct alternative, a more robust, a more secure option to the Sou-Sou is that, yes, you can continue contributing your 1,000, but perhaps not into the Sou-Sou, but you can contribute in an account that is set up with a particular banking institution, that can actually be able to open an RRSP, which is a registered retirement savings plan, right? There are many advantages that you can actually have in that particular account. Many advantages tax-wise, many advantages if you want to, if you actually like saving for a mortgage down payment, right? There are other savings accounts like the tax-free savings account that you can actually invest in. Those accounts actually eliminate those particular risks that we were talking about. Those particular risks are taken out because you are now dealing with a big financial institution, and this big financial institution will probably ask again, will that financial institution be there tomorrow? As we were saying, there is a particular default risk from or credit risk from these individuals that will borrow from the Sou-Sou. Yes, what also happens is that most of these financial institutions, they are ones that are credible. They are ones that have been there for many years, and you can never doubt that they are credible. And even many of the members of the SuSu, they actually have got a bank that they put their monies or receive their income through, right? So it is that banks that they trust that we are saying, or those financial institutions. Let me not just say banks, because these accounts can be set up with different financial institutions, not necessarily just banks, right? So obviously there are some that can actually give you a better return than those that may not give you as much return as well, right? But however, in terms of, I also mentioned that these financial institutions, those deposit receiving financial institutions, they also have got the government actually set up certain structures to ensure that any financial institution that fails, it is then the government that actually pays on behalf of those particular institutions. And I'm sure our governments will always be there. I don't think they can then disappear one way or the other. All right. So that's my recommendation, and I have seen many wonders are happening with those particular savings accounts that I've mentioned about. And this is my certain recommendation for all members who are actually using SuSu. Therefore, no to SuSu.
No SuSu.
No SuSu, yeah, because we don't want people to cry, when their monies that they would have contributed disappear.
Thanks, Uncle Nate. I wanted to add though that even the big banks, they are subject to bankruptcy, right? So, however, the thing there is that the consumer is protected. So there's consumer protection if your organization, your financial institution goes belly up.
Yeah.
So because then there's assurances will kick in, or CDIC, or different consumer protection agencies that will protect your money to a certain extent. Is better than losing the whole thing in a structural, in an unstructured SuSu. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very correct. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to share with you in terms of about SuSu, but obviously we can talk more about if you have got any other questions that maybe I need to clarify, or perhaps need to more detail or references. I am free to. It's actually back to you, Dr. Rose.
Thank you so much. Well, I have learned a lot. It's been just less than an hour, and I've learned so much. Thank you so much. I did have a lot of questions coming into this conversation today, and thank you for clarifying. Literally, I don't think I have any more questions, but yeah, thank you. So I guess Uncle Israel, Uncle Bright, over to you. Any questions for the guru?
No, I just want to add that, you see, the issue of SuSu has to do with communal relationship between people and the trust that they have within themselves. SuSu is still striving today among very close friends and pals all over the world. People still come together, put resources together because of the trust they have for themselves. And depend on the goal that they want to achieve. Like Madam Rose just mentioned, that some people bring SuSu to do their down payment. A lot of people cannot actually save money. The only means to which they can save money is through that kind of issue, that kind of setup like SuSu. They cannot take their money, say, I want to take 1,000 to the bank and put in a savings account, or put in one account. They don't have that ability or that tendency to always achieve that. They always believe that if they have that kind of communal relationship or communal setup, that they can make contribution every month. They feel committed to making meeting those obligations. So they always want to go into such setup, and it has benefited a lot of people. That especially those that want to save money, maybe for mortgage, they want to save money to go and build house in Africa or something like that. But if there's a way we can, there are risks anyway, because if you don't trust anybody and bring that kind of person to your fold, you are bound to face credit risk. You can that person can cut away with your money. Like the one that I was talking about, that was they were operating back home, that I know, if even you borrow money, you are not able to pay, at least you make contributions to them before, and there's a way they get the money back from you. They put mechanism in place to get the money back from you. And that sometimes you may have to drop one thing or the other that they can sell and get their money back. There were those kind of mechanisms that was put in place to recover any money that is being given out to people. But like I said, the primary purpose for people doing that was, one, to get credit to do business where they cannot get credit in the bank, and two, to save money, because they on their own cannot just say, let me save this 5,000, let me save this 10,000. So it gives them the capacity to save. So those are the reasons why people were carrying that, and it's people still do it today because of those primary purposes. So my advice is that anybody that want to go into such things, just make sure that people you are doing it with, they are trusted people. People that you know very well, not people that they will come and call, somebody will come and call you from afar, and you not start to know. And in fact, it does not actually work like that. It's always among close friends and close relations.
So then, putting on my thinking cap, because I like to kind of think outside the box. So that means then Uncle Nick, Uncle Israel, and Uncle Bright, three of you guys can actually like start a SuSu bank.
And I come in.
Where you guys can start a SuSu bank where you get a lawyer to carefully craft the, modus operandi, the legal structure, create an organization, incorporate it. Like, I'm just giving you like a multi-billion-dollar idea right here.
That's an idea, but I guess you need to have a license to do that.
Yeah, there's gonna be, nothing good comes easy. You gotta figure it out. But yeah, from what Uncle Bryce is saying, I mean, this is something that has been there for a while. Plus, people will continue to do it no matter what we say.
Yeah.
If you remember,
right? So we just need to figure out a way to make it easy, facilitate it, make it easier, less risky, more secure, less stressful, whatever. Take out all the baba.
Yeah. If you remember what I mentioned about that in the African continent, many governments or many central banks are setting up what they are calling financial inclusion. This financial inclusion are banks or financial institutions that are actually set up, and especially with the help from the central banks, to ensure they put structures to these
around the SuSu.
Yes, because they actually build on the SuSu concept, where then these 10 members that we're talking about, then they will actually put their monies into an account, into a banking institution that has got a license, which then is controlled just the same as other banks. Maybe I don't know if all the regulations will apply to them, but definitely it becomes part of the financial system of that particular country. And this is actually happening currently in
right
Africa.
now, as we speak.
Right now, yes. But I haven't heard about it in Canada. So
so there's an opportunity in Canada. So do it. I'm giving you a multi-billion-dollar idea. So let's run with it. And we're out of time. Uncle Israel, did you want to say one last thing?
Well, because of time, I don't think I really have much to say than what Uncle Bryce said earlier, which is okay. But what works in certain continent might not apply. Well, as Uncle Nick mentioned, that if we want to make that to work here, there should be structure in place, and one can run with that because of time.
Okay. I love it. So thank you so much, everyone. And thank you big time to Uncle Nick Masvikeni, my Zim power. Thank you so much. This has been very educative, very informative. And so for my viewers out there, you know, if you have any questions at all, you need to talk to Uncle Nick for some more. I've put his name, phone number, and email address on his name tag. So phone number is 780-920-1501. Email address is nmasvikeni@gmail.com. Uncle Nick, thank you. Thank you so much.
It has been my pleasure.
God bless you.
Thank you for
so yeah,
inviting
have
me.
yourselves a great rest of the day, and let's look forward to a Sou-Sou bank someday.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rose.
All right.
Thank you, Uncle Nick.
All right.
All right.
God bless you for your
Thank you.
contributions, Uncle Bright, Uncle Israel.
Bye-bye.
God bless you. Have yourselves a good day. Bye-bye.
Have a good week, everyone.
Yeah.